moral of the story is, and the moral of the story is, work so your arms fall out, so your abs get hard. And the moral of the story is, work so your hands go. All right, man. Um, I wanted to briefly talk about the school shootings that were going on because everyone talks about the same shit all the time, right? So like they get it going and there it goes. When I was a kid going in school, there was not very many school shootings that I could recall. Now, there was people who brought guns to school, and there was people who got shot after school. That was like more high school age. Elementary schools were pretty safe, and I used to think of schools like a Walmart parking lot. Like a Walmart, you'd walk into, like, no matter where you park, you just go in. And like if you ever go to a school these days, like they funnel you in and you get like escorted around, and all the doors are locked and there's only one exit and one entrance. And the schools that, at least like the schools my kids go to, are they're poverty schools, and so they tend to corral people and the parents like frickin' prisoners, and that's the way I look at schools. And I just think that uh, the school shootings are a symptom of a bigger problem. Um, it's partially guns. I guess it's partially guns. You got to regulate guns. I don't see why you wouldn't. You regulate cars, you regulate anything. I mean, if it's gonna harm you, if it's gonna harm you, you got to regulate it. Um, that's my concern on that. I'm not for taking guns away or banning completely. Although I feel that some people shouldn't own guns. Um, and I think everyone feels that way. It just, who do you think shouldn't own guns? Some people think minorities shouldn't own guns. Some people think the mentally impaired. And then you have to go into who's mentally impaired. When you're drunk, you're mentally impaired, or when you're depressed. But if you go by prescription statistics, everyone in a fucking America is depressed. So what's mental illness got to do with it, right? Well, I think it goes into a societal kind of clump of how capitalism works, right? It makes people work like a dog. And if you don't work like a dog, then you basically don't have a say. And then even though you work like a dog, you feel like you don't have a say. Your money is spent as quick as you earn it, like quicker. It takes a week or two to earn it. It takes a day to get rid of it, and overall, I think that our society is so stressed out that back in the day, the parents were stressed out. In the 80s and the 70s and the 60s, the new parents were more liberated. It wasn't as structural as it was like with that puritanical kind of 1950s structure, 40s structure, and I think that the family dynamic got broken up, and and also, like, the laws broke that up, like the war on drugs caused so many people to lose their freedom. They are addicts. Like, you don't pretty soon they're going to lock up fat people, right? Because fat people are consuming too much and killing themselves, and maybe they eat so much that they don't pay their bills, and they're bad for society because they don't pay their bills because they're eating food too much. you know uh that's how it feels like with drugs, right? Like, you're going to criminalize someone for not for lack of self-control against their own selves. um yeah, if you harm someone, you go to jail. But like, those are other laws they break, right? So a crackhead will go steal something, or someone might harm someone, and then it becomes a crime. And I know, like, people like to associate junkies and all that with crime, but really the underground market makes the crime. And anyway, back to guns. you know if you ban something, it's going to make it worse, I can tell you that. And the people that are shooting up these schools are not mentally stable, obviously. So you don't want to you don't want to rule out mental causes, right? But you don't solely want to focus on just guns because we have so many per capita. Like it's going to be very difficult to remove them. What we need to do is educate, and we need to understand the stresses involved in our lives that are leading us to this route. I mean, people are killing themselves at a rapid pace, and when someone goes on a rampage like that, they half expect to die, if not all expect to die, because that's how most of them end up. And they're strung out, man. They're strung out on their own personal shit. And some of these people, like this guy, was apparently a white supremacist. Um, if that's his case, then he's full of hate. He's strung out on the wrong Kool-Aid, man. He drank the wrong Kool-Aid. We're all in this together, and it's more than just the debate between guns or the debate between mental health problems or treatment. We need to get to the root cause, and nobody fucking answers the root cause, and it's basically that we're ignoring each other. We're ignoring each other. We're making ourselves depressed and ostracizing other people, and it it makes for outlets that grab hold of you. It makes people look for stuff. See what it's very complicated to me, because what it is to me is our leaders are not leaders anymore. Okay, they're servers. They serve other people, and they serve people that aren't in our interest, except for an occasional cross path. Like we want internet so we can get on internet, and Google wants internet because they want to charge us. So therefore, we have a common cause of wanting internet, something like that. But other than that, they're looking for tax breaks and shit, and they're squeezing pennies and shit everywhere, except for their own pockets, right? They're doing it to the poor. They're taking away poor things, food commodities, fucking people in student loan debts. They're taking off, they're garnishing wages, and it's all working poor. So the working poor are getting squeezed even harder right now, and I'm one of them. I could feel. I'm not even a worker. I'm not a worker. I stay home with my family, with my children, but my wife works, and you can feel the pressure. And you know what? There's a sudden pressure change too, like with the new administration. So I know that the changes going on right now are really shitty. And the whole thing is so complex because our media has lied to us in a blatant, brazen way. And it's like Fox News does it often, and now it's all the other medias too. And all these outlets, like they're manipulated. They're changing narratives. They're rewriting history sometimes, and so now it's been so blatant. And I think you know what, it sucks to talk about it all the time. To like I hear it all the time, but it really goes back to the 2016 election, because the Democrats cheated their people. The Republicans learned their fucking lesson when they cheated Ron Paul. I think because they let Donald Trump in. They didn't have to. They could have fucking did what they did before and screwed him over like they did Ron Paul. Ron Paul had a huge movement, and the media ignored him. Everyone ignored him, and it made people disheartened. I remember when the Bernie Sanders campaign came out, and I was so stoked. There was people in the Ron Paul team that were like, you're never getting in. They're gonna fuck you. And I was like, oh, we're not Republicans. And guess what? Fucking A, they fucked us. And you know what? Nobody acknowledges that. Nobody. Though people, or I would say nobody, none of the mainstream, right? They don't acknowledge that like Bernie got fucked, that they cheated, that they manipulated the vote, that they literally cheated. And it's all recorded. It's all, we know this, okay? So when you cheat people, they don't trust you, right? If your wife cheats on you, are you going to trust her? It's a very difficult thing to trust after someone cheats on you. Well, the same thing in this political spectrum. We had our hearts uh, tied and invested into this subject, and suddenly they ate their own. Okay, and when you do that, you don't want to fucking ever do that, because now we don't trust you. People don't trust you. The independence was already a large crowd, and now, the Dem exit was huge, and the Democratic Socialists of America got huge right away, because the Bernie Sanders movement, everyone wanted to do something else other than these cheaters, right? You have liars on one side and cheaters on the other, both working together to be liars and cheaters, right? So the right wing and the left wing are all the same bird, functioning to go to the same direction, okay? Remember that. And I want you to know that uh, these school shootings, the root cause of them stems from a lack of trust from our leaders, our media being so corrupt. So nothing gets done. No legislation gets done. The frustration kicks in our society like waves rippling. The biggest splash from Washington ripples out, and it ripples out to everybody. And when you feel the wave, sometimes it shakes you up, sometimes you can't swim. And the more they do this to people, the more you'll realize that people are stressed out, man. And it's getting worse. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. Because there's too many people in La La Land that think that this fucking world is just so damn great, that you just ignore everything else and just deal with your own shit. But that's what got us into this point, in my belief. We need to work as a society and have more we effort and less me effort and less I effort. Well, those are important to strengthen yourself, so you're strong for your team, for your people. You have to remember the weak are also there. And the weak come in many different flavors. It's not just some brittle old person or some young person. It could be a man, a white man who feels ostracized, who feels abandoned by society, who feels a society who protects minorities. And this is all an illusion, but it's the way they feel. Maybe they're the poor, and it doesn't matter if you're black or white or brown. When you're poor, they don't give a fuck about you, okay? There might be like some racial undertones in certain societies that put race involved in the poor, like I'll help that white boy out before that black boy. That might happen, I'm sure. But what the main thing is that it's a class environment, that they're dividing the poor and the rich, and they're fighting, making the poor fight. They're making the poor fight each other. All right, and who's poorer than the poor working class? Who's poorer than the poor working class? I'll tell you who. The immigrant. Okay, and so you have the white and basically the American working class, which is white, black, brown, Asian, anything, whatever, any tone. The humans that are working class, the poorer working class, are now pitted against the immigrants. Now you have some immigrants who are, second, third immigrants generation, that are now established and they're part of the working class, and they're siding with the immigrants because they're like, hey, I was immigrant too. But you have so many people who are now getting threatened with their food stamps taken away, and the government getting shut down over the immigrant. That doesn't look good. I don't give a fuck, man. That doesn't look good. It doesn't look good in my realm, my society. Like, I am for pro-immigrant rights. I want immigrants to be able to come in here whenever the fuck they want. But the system is manipulating it, so we're fighting against each other. And people got to wake up. So it is going to get worse. It's going to get way fucking worse before it gets better. Because to me, this last few years has been a shine on true colors for media, for our leaders, and you can see the lies. I can see the lies more so, and I notice that more people do. You know, there was a cynical thing since forever saying you're as crooked as a politician. You can't be trusted. Never trust politicians, and no, 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 no. Then why the fuck do you vote for them? Why do you elect them? Well, you know what? Those people don't vote. Those people don't vote, and they don't fucking care. And that number is growing. That's growing in a large amount because basically everyone is a lying sack of shit. Nobody represents you. So why are you gonna show up to vote? You know, I show up to vote in my local elections, in my the small tiny elections. You know, municipal, state, you know, general, federal, and you know, I feel so much that sometimes it's a waste of time because these people don't represent us. You know, we vote for a mayor, and you know, in my city, I think it was something like 13 or 17% of the population elected our mayor. That's it. You know, and I think a little more this time. But that small percentage that elected our mayor, they went ahead and made the this project down the famous Route 66 that nobody likes. It's not being used, and it just costs all kinds of tax money. You know, our police officers cost us millions of dollars in lawsuits because they beat the citizens. Um, you know, our jails are over capacity. The people are underpaid, and our laws are geared towards uh, getting people out because our jails are over capacity, and so you have multiple offenders going in and out. Um, you have basically child molesters going free. You have mota smokers or fucking maybe a crackhead, you know, staying in jail. So you have it full of crackheads while all the child molesters are out. You know, that's how backwards our society is right now. When that happens, people don't give a fuck. And when people don't give a fuck, 17 people end up dead out of school. And you know what's going to happen? Not a fucking thing. Not a fucking thing. Because it's going to have to get worse before it gets better. Before people wake up and say, oh shit, maybe we don't need one gun for every fucking human being on American soil. Maybe we don't need fucking, you know, this excess amount of ammunition going to our military. I don't know. You know, we're a product of capitalism gone amok. I really do believe that. So, in this conversation, you're going to hear people talking about the manipulation of the government, using this as a tool. Some even more people saying it's completely fabricated. You'll have other people saying that they want to take away that AR-15. You have this huge conversations going on, yet no one talks about the root cause ever. So you guys enjoy your day, enjoy your time, enjoy your loved ones. Try not to stress. Peace.